Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year. This is Dr. Gaines 101. Welcome to my BitChute YouTube simulcast together. Today will be more of like a Doctor of Ghetto style type of politics, mixture of personal experiences I've been going through these past 10 years. As the title states on this video, saying that I'm sorry guys, it is what it is for the last 10 years. I definitely gained so much knowledge and experiences and mishaps and failures and the successes and vice versa, and it's like you don't know what I've been through for the past 10 years, or at least the 10 years I have my life. And to those that are well aware of what's going on with what I said earlier in my personal conversations, so my group conversations, whether it's online or in person, I mean, for 10 years, I've been like seeing all this stuff happening gradually of what happened with the 9/11 reports and the JFK file, stuff like that being released in 2019, if not as of this year. Because that's what I was told back in the 1990s book, or 1990s movie of the JFK movie with, I forgot the actor's name, but it was a very well mentioned movie back in the 90s. And they said at the end of the credits, or before the credits started, at the end of the movie, said that by 2019, that's when they released all the records about JFK. And look what's going on right now for the last several weeks, if not months. That's just not one example only. And that was back in early 1990s when I watched that movie. And then as well as in the 2000s for the 40th anniversary, and the 2010s for the 50th anniversary. Now this is the 60th anniversary as of last year. So today is January 4th, 2022. So what happened for the last several years of my life, guys? Why do you think that I'm some sort of crazy kook out there? Whether you heard about me, whether you talk to me online through Xbox or the internet as a whole, why am I acting the way I've been acting online? Whether it's through cordial composure or through outrage and not screaming, hollering, but I have a high in my voice when I talk and about these certain things. And you guys gotta understand too that this is from realizing many things. And you have to understand too, as my video back in a year or two, if not 3-4 years ago, it had to be around 2 years ago now, that I made this video called what was like in the 1990s, something still like that I was saying back then. And you gotta understand, back in the 1990s into the 2000s, when I grew up with this technology, and the technology was only the internet, as very minuscule compared to what it is now. The internet, we had a slow, horrible internet connection. We didn't even have internet in our houses yet. Our computers, we didn't have computers in this very same room where my grandmother's sister lived. I was actually living here since I was 7 years old, officially in this room, in a sense, technically speaking. So that was back in 1994, 1995. And since then, had this room since. And, we didn't have the internet. We had TV, the rabbit ears TV, and everything else. And I want to get this off my chest that way people don't know some sort of crazy kook or a crazy conspiracy theorist. Knowing that this is from reading and seeing and feeling and hearing. Like, you cannot get rid of that shit. And the people out there, which I don't want to mention his name, let's call him, should I mention his name? It starts with the A. He probably knows what I'm talking about. I just talked to him just now after this, before this video was made. So I said to this guy, A, like, hey man, like, you gotta shut up for a second. But I did, because he was acting like a bombastic, arrogant, highfalutin bastard to me. And I'm trying to tell him after 3-4 years, whatever I tell him over time, this is not just some bullshit what I'd learned. Well, whether it's about 9/11 or about the Illuminati or about the distortion of history with George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln being black originally, or Obama's birth records. Like, there's deeper ties to that, where Obama may be the son of Frank Marshall Davis or Malcolm X, or his original, supposed to be his father, Barack Obama Sr., is involved with the Russians and shit like that, and his mother's side of the family was involved with the Nazis. And there's a lot of shit that broke off from all this stuff happening on the internet 10 years ago. Back 10 years ago, the internet wasn't as sensitive as now. Anything I say for the last year or two to these people online, whether they're my friends or not, or friends' friends, or at one point they were my friend, but they want to speak to me, want to tell them the truth of things, this happened for a reason. What I say is happened. This is not just some lies per se. You cannot lie all this stuff. if you could lie about the stuff, then that's some great orchestrated lies right there, from what I learned. And all this time, for so many years passed by now, taking medications, going in and out of hospitals. Yes, I was acting paranoid. Yes, I acted delusional. Yes, I was an enemy of myself. But at the same time, you hear and see things people tell you, whether they say it to you directly or not, you know what's up. You know that your life is either in danger, or you're a person of interest, or you're just some guy that's very, like, conniving, whatever they say, or whatever they do it. But that's just from reading and reporting the news. Fox News, CNN, ABC, NBC, they used to report the news before this internet was around, and they were doing a good job covering shit up. That's a good thing to the propagandists out there, to those that could try to control everything and everyone. But now the internet, the jig is up. Everyone now, not everyone, but at one point, back 5+ years ago, everyone knew what's up now, back then. Now for the last 2 or 3 years, the newer generation is like, adults now, they turn into adults, and they don't know what I know. They don't know what I see and hear. They don't know why am I acting crazy at times, or they think I'm acting crazy. And they're not acting rebellious. They're not acting patriotic. They're not acting loyal to their country. And I'm not saying that loyal to the government per se. We're talking about the country as a whole. The United States of America, the 50 states, the Tar Heel state, North Carolina, South Carolina, or the Empire State, New York State, where I live right now. That, memorizing these states and state nicknames, state birds, state flags, hell, even state rocks, if there's such thing as that. I don't know about the state rocks, but you know what I mean. Like, I did research when I was as young as 10 years old, going to my school library, reading each and every book of the 50 states, if not at least 30 of the 50 states, as well as the 25 of the 40, not 40 presidents at the time. It was around 40 presidents, because I went to the 45th or 46th president right now, Joe Biden. So back then it was like 40 people, 40 presidents, and not 41 presidents, something like that. It was back in 1997. And up to by 2008, 99, I was reading all this shit. This is why I love my country. This is why you see me with the American flag in my second handle profile on Twitter. I have 3 profiles on Twitter. My main one is usually for posting, promoting, whatever. The second one is my backup / it's more of my private account, and the third one is my backup. So you'll see what I'm talking about. The one with the American flag, that's my personal profile with personal information. I have people tweeting me, I tweet to them on a personal level. I mean, real personal. Whereas, like, we say, hey man, where you live, and I don't want them to know all the information about that to the public, because obviously, safety reasons. They can use against me and use against them as well. But other than that, getting back on point, look, I know my information can be very inaccurate at times, or rambunctious, or just flat out, like, can't find it. That's how fucked up the system is right now. The people who are in charge don't want you to know what I know. And you call me a CIA agent, FBI agent, NSA agent, like Snowden, or who's that guy? The guy going to go to jail, Julian Assange of the WikiLeaks. Now, I'm not sure about the NSA agent Snowden, but Julian Assange, I heard that he was some ordinary guy with a laptop at the time, back in the 2000s. I heard about him up until after 2007, 2008, with the 9/11 and shit like that. So he was getting his name out there since, in my perspective, that is. And personally, myself, if you want to know if I'm really a CIA agent, NSA agent, FBI agent, or any informant for the government, why would I be on welfare with like less than 50 cents in my name on food stamps? Why did I put myself out there 10 years ago, putting this shit out there to my coworkers, and in return of that, they didn't say nothing about what I did that day of emailing to my coworkers on the personal emails, but they said that I didn't let me go and lay me off because of financial problems with the company, which that's a true statement. They were having financial problems during the 2008 crisis, and they fucked up shit since. And it's back in 2010 when I got laid off. So it was true at the same time. It was the right moment, right time to make sure I don't I don't fuck shit up. And that's what I was doing. I was taking risks. I was literally putting myself out there, and I felt paranoid by 2010 of June when I hear these things about Obama saying stuff on the news about me and stuff like that. What's kind of strange though, I was only 22, 21 at the time. I got me 22, and I didn't say anything public other than on the internet. I don't have access to the NBC and the CNN and stuff like that. I mean, I'm your average conspiracy theorist back then. And I was reported by 2 times by the Department of Homeland Security. Not Department, but people who reported the matter. They told me they're going to report me to the Department of Homeland Security. That they also are terrorists for just sharing information. Imagine that back in 2010, 2 people, one is supposed to be your conspiracy theorist buddy, or at least network with them, telling you like, oh, this is too much information, or oh, you're lying, oh, shut up, I want to block you, report you to the Department of Homeland Security. And those are just 2 people. Imagine there's more out there saying the same thing about me as I'm speaking on this thing here, on this YouTube thing, or on the internet altogether. So this is not just some nonsense I'm speaking of. This is not some like esoteric thing where I'm just exposing the government per se. Maybe I am exposing the government, but the internet showed even up the playing field. They evened it out, like just like anyone's game, zero gain actually, to be more exact. That's how fucked up things have gotten. And I have to say, I am glad and thankful I was born and raised in the time that the internet was growing up or maturing. It's connecting to more people out there as I speak and as before this recording. This, I have to say, I'm glad and thankful that I'm alive and well, and whatever happens after this and beyond this point, I can do for myself and for others. I can succeed with others and by myself if I have to as well. But this me speaking about saying sorry guys, things definitely change over the years. I gained this knowledge, it is what it is. There's fate. You got like Vladimir Lem said in Max Payne, the first video game, it's fate on Max Payne. You gotta do what you gotta do. Or in the Futurama TV show. Was it Layla Lala with the one-eyed monster or one-eyed lady? She said to Fry, it's a job that I have to do. That's it. Like, this is not some, call-in or well-mentioned situation where I have to, rise up in power or whatever per se. But it can be that way too if I put my mind to it, as well as, take a few precautions. And they already know what I've been saying for months, my friends online, or the ones I'm in my circle of friends. They know what's up with me. And it's not about feeling fear and putting the shit out there to expose myself and others or expose the government once again. This has been out there for years, if not decades. If you check back on my channel on YouTube, my main channel before, as of January 4th, 2022 of this recording, and you see this video right now on my main channel of YouTube, if you go back for the last 10 years plus what I uploaded to YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. It takes some time to look through all 400, 300 plus videos. Some of them are re-uploads, repostings. Others are my own research I did. Others are reports I did. Others I advocate and do activism, do recordings and phone call recordings, things that matter. So you see all this stuff happening. You're like, wow, he went through a lot. He did his work. He did his worth. And by the time whoever sees this, depends on how time passes or progresses, you'll see that it's going to be deleted, this channel. Susan, of the CEO of YouTube, or whoever these YouTube staff members are, they're not going to let this information out there in the open from here on out. This is all through, like, if you want to call it coverting, espionage, I guess you'll say it. But this is just your ordinary, like, cat and mouse. It's like, it's a hit and miss. It's like a whack-a-mole. You can only whack with so many moles. You're not Superman. Unless you have a group of people, like, line up and also add up to the versus amount, the disparity of the things, like 10 moles here or 10 people there. Okay, that's fine. But in the end, Not everyone's going to be on your side, and they're not going to be on their side. Not everyone's an SJW, and not going to be on your side anyway, or my side even. Or if they're like, Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn, you think they're actually going to team up with me, or want to be in alliance, or affiliate with me anyway, because of what I believe in over the years, and see my channel, or what they see? They'll look at me as a threat. Especially the Black Lives Matter thing. They control that severely well. It's a joke. The Black Lives title, the Black Lives Movement, is a joke. You call me a coon or a Malcolm X coon, whatever you want to call me, I don't care anymore. Whatever. But here's the situation. Before the 2014 declaration of the Black Lives Matter movement, we had the pro-black movement back in the 2000s, and from the 1980s to the 2000s, from my perspective, that is. And yes, that could be hijacked as well, coverted by the CIA, whatever, the CONTELPRO, that's going on up until then, the 1990s. But there were people serious enough to sacrifice something for nothing, or at least something for a better cause, or better life, or better livelihood. Either or, you're still doing the work. Now in today's world, everyone's on the internet doing their activism, quote unquote. They're just like, oh, I want to spread the word about the fluoride in drinking water. Been there, done that. We knew that since the 1950s of Newburgh, New York. Oh, I want to spread the word about the syphilis being spread among black people and via the vaccinations. Been there, done that. We have the Tuskegee records of the 1970s. I knew that before I knew about the New World Order agenda. That's good. I know. You know what's funny? Me personally, a millennial, a Generation Y, young 34-year-old me, right now, at this recording, I did not know about the New World Order back in 1999, 2000. I was a kid back then. I was 13 years old when I started learning all this stuff about the American culture. That's what I learned first. Then, as I got older, I see more and more what's up. Because the New World Order started as early as, the 1990s, early 90s, so it wasn't as widespread, even though H.W. Bush, the 41st President of the United States, mentioned in his speeches in 1991, of September 11, 1991, give or take. So I'm thinking to myself, where we come to this conclusion that, and this is just my perspective based on my hindsight of things, that my truth or my perspective of researching to find the truth or to tell the information, how is this going to all curtail the future of this country? How much more do I have to put out there? How much more do I have to tell and say and mention and share? And everyone else is doing the same thing too where I live. Not where I live, but online, excuse me. The people on the network with. The government knows who I'm associated with, who I interact with, what I donate, who give money to, who I did this with, and who I did that with. It's no secret after a while. I mean, all I do is research the database. But too late now. It is what it is. And I'm trying to tell people who are in my circle, not the ones I play games with, just in general about the conspiracy and stuff, like the serious people who are really doing something, or at least that's what we thought we were. Like, I try to tell them, we have to correlate, we have to be cohesive, we have to take chances and sacrifices. Antifa and neo-Nazis, stuff like that, they really believe in what they believe in and took them to take it out into the world. Because the internet, Facebook, Twitter, I mean, if you just post some memes like I do for the last 5 years, oh, well and good. The first year back in 2015, 2016, yeah, we had to change our game a bit because most of the younger generations now grew up with war and aggression and with masculinity and shit like that. I mean, like real masculinity. What we see on these TV shows and movies like Commando, Chuck Norris and John Schwarzenegger, with Species and movies like Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson and what's his name? Oh man, I forgot his name. The black guy with the guy Riggs, Riggs and shit like that. It was a different time, and I was conditioned. My family was conditioned. Our community was conditioned here in this part of New York City. You cannot just think that I'm going to let that slide from knowing all this stuff right now. All this Illuminati, New World Order, history distortions, fluoride in drinking water, 9/11 was an inside job. It will come to a point where you want to take some form of action, which I have been for the last 10 years on and off. Now, I'm not the best at it, and I'm definitely not Mr. Know-It-All. I'm not saying that I'm the prophet, or I'm into all this good, like Nostradamus stuff. Like I know the end of times is coming and stuff like that. I don't know if tomorrow's gonna come or not, guys. All I know is that we as people, whoever we are, however we are, in what part, what country, and I'm only focusing on the United States for the time being, and of course, yes, we can't change the world altogether, but we can help in our communities where we are now. That's the starting point where we have to do. And then network somehow, some way after building that community or communities. Now, I don't want to mention her name, but she knows who I'm talking about now. I've known her on Facebook for 10 years. I'm trying to tell her, like, hey, we have to work together. And I'm trying to test her, and I did, and she doesn't seem that she's participating in the cause, and or the overall cause of changing the world or fight the new world order agenda and stuff like that. We already know the mantra between her and I, but in a detailed, cohesive, organized front, that's like what I'm supposed to do. And personally, myself, I can't only do with so much. And she can only do so much. And I'm trying to tell us just that one example of that one person on the internet. This is the power we have. Let's combine these forces. And, after all these 10 years, I'm on medication now. I'm relying on the government. And I'm not saying that I'm anti-establishment and taking money at the same time. No. I believe in well-organized government. They are the mediation and correlation between all parties of society at large, especially between company and a person, business and human being, or store and group and stuff, and so on and so forth. They're the third party in a sense, or the mediation in the middle between, because they have the courts, they have the police, we have the sanitation, sewage, water treatment. All this stuff is by the government somehow, some way. They oversee these systems and activities that maintain other systems and activities in society. And without the government having a state of society like fringe elements, aka Confederate Socialists, was saying, then I don't know what's going to happen after a few months to a couple of years after the government will be non-existent, if it ever happened like that. So look him up. Confederal Socialist, aka Fringe Elements. He should still have his YouTube channel of Fringe Elements. I doubt it though, because it's been 10 years now. And last time I responded back to any of his videos back 10 years ago. So go back to that, and you should see the first 50 videos, 30 videos, 25 videos. I mean, talking to Fringe Elements and the public in a response video to about mental health and stress. And yes, so I was wondering why I'm talking about mental health on and off throughout my videos for the last few years, or if not just this video. I was diagnosed with a mental illness back in June of 2010, and since then I've been on medication on and off up until 2015. Then I went back on medication in 2016 of the fall season, about the summer season, and since then I've been on medication since. And now it's like, for all this time taking these medications, why, Charles, are you relying on the system? You know that you have to fight the system and against the system in order to overcome the hardship or the of itself, in a sense, because you think to yourself, like Charles, like Dr. Games, Dr. Earth Ghetto, even, like, why are you doing these things? Why are you relying on the government for? Why are you doing this? Like I said, I am not anti-government. I am not anti-establishment per se. It may sound weird, right? Anti-establishment, but we have to change something up with the government altogether while we're in this system. And that one way is to make new political parties. I should mention this to my group, my local group, Like-Minded. I know I should mention their names constantly like that on the internet. But, we can form our own political party where we live and then spread out throughout the city. That'd be a good idea. I should mention that to him one day when I meet him. But we're trying to keep our stuff off the internet, our group, because it's too, sure, they can get informants, they can get this, that, to see our group. And it actually happened in some groups in the past, especially that 9/11 Fahrenheit documentary, where people of a community group, they talk about politics, they talk about this and the other thing, and they'll be overseen by a CIA agent. stuff like that. That's weird. Because they're not into all that radical Nazism, stuff like that. These are just community people talking about eating cookies with each other. Well, for us, it's a little different. We're not that radical, but we're not even that conservative. We're kind of like this left to center. Well, I'm more of a center guy for the last 5 to 10 years now, right? But there's a mixture of us in this group. We do the things here. We do this stuff here. We reach out to the community. We network with each other. We donate. We contribute. Whatever we can do for each other within this network of people. And I'm not trying to say that I want to dish out our business out there publicly, but at this rate, the way things are with this country going, the younger generation are seeing nothing but entertainment, and that's it. They're not reading the history books. They're not reading, well, not literally not reading altogether, but they're not reading those serious books from like the 1970s and 80s, or even back 1940s and earlier. I see some of those books in my lifetime, whether it's a glance or like as early as like for a few seconds, or even as long as like a couple weeks at the library or whatever. They still have their books. They still have them. I bet they still have them. But if they don't, then you know that what I say for the last 10 years is out here in the open on my channel, let alone anyone on the internet who sees Rumble, Odyssey, you name it. So what I'm trying to say, what's the point of all this mantra for the last 30 minutes I've been speaking of? I just want to say that things change over time, and you have to spread and pass down the knowledge from generation to generation. And Michael Savage said it best. Excuse me. Excuse that dry mouth. So Michael Savage, the radio show host and author of Scorched Earth and Stop the Coming Civil War, he said it best. Once until you don't teach children what happened back in the past, they're doomed to repeat it. And yes, no matter what, there's always going to be a cycle into civilization, a cycle in our lives, day and night, war and peace, up and down, left and right. It shifts back and forth constantly, up and down, yes. But what there's to say? You have to teach children, and not children like 5, 6, 4, 3 years old. No, not that young, but like 13, 14, maybe, hell, even 17, 18. But after a while, if you don't teach them after a while about certain things that happened back then and the way things supposed to be, the role modeling or the gender roles and stuff like that. Oh, sure, there's no such thing as two sexes, whatever those SJWs are saying, whoever's LGBT, whatever, they, them, she, it, whatever. I don't believe in that stuff. That's saying it's bullshit, but that it's just a little too much right there, because we have to say that us as humans, there's a male and there's a female, period. And we have to mention that to these young kids. Otherwise, you're not going to have soldiers. You're not going to have warriors. You're not going to have people who want to sacrifice themselves, whether it's their livelihood or their lives themselves, or their reputation as people, to make a change for this country or for the community at large, or at least within their community of within. And if you don't have that among the children, or not children but the newer generations, good luck trying to teach that to the newer generations, so on and so forth. Why we're being dumbed down over the last 100 years? Prior to the 100 years, right before 1914 of the Federal Reserve Act, or at least somewhere around there, Carnegie, the Rockefellers, the Tesla, and all these major inventors and businessmen and tycoons, they took over the system of education, and they made sure that these people, of certain group of people, whether they're black or white, doesn't matter. To some extent it does, but now it's like everyone has dumbed down. Look at me. I'm relying on the internet to see my knowledge, or to see what I did back 10 years ago with what I did. I go back in my notes, or go back in my videos, and I see what I did. I was like, oh my God, I did a good job putting myself out there, knowing that people know who I am, what I've been through, what I did. So good, right? But I lose the attention or the grasp of learning this stuff in the books, because now I'm on a tablet, the Windows tablet, and I have the computer here, and the desktop PC, and the laptop, all that stuff. So why need the books anymore, right? But we still need those books that show them to the newer generations. And I hope we've been doing that for the last 10 years now. I cannot say much about the newer generation in my local schools because I don't have no son or daughters. I have no children of my own. But I'm sure if I taught to, which I did at times, I'll talk to like a 13, 14, or even a 17, 18-year-old at times. Like, hey, kid, what's going on with school? How's everything going? Still reading those books? So you're on tablets now. That type of stuff. So, it's not every school, it's not every student, but it looks like a trend where it's like, in some parts of the country, the newer students, the newer generation of students, the newer generations altogether, they don't know what we know as far as us 30 plus, 35 plus year olds. As of this recorded, January 4th, 2022, you expect that anyone over 25 to know about the history of World War II and World War One. But as over the last several years, even with games like Battlefield 1 that depicts World War One and Battlefield 5 that depicts World War II, some of these people, whether they're as young as 16 or as old as 25 or not 30, they're not into knowing this history in great depth. Even if it's just to read a paragraph a day, or a page a day, or even 10 pages a day, or once every few weeks you read a book, whatever. I'm doing that for the last few months now. Read a book every few days or to a few weeks, and everything's on the tablet now. And I say to myself, "Oh, I still got my books here. Hell, I haven't read this book. It can sound dusty. I haven't read this book in a while about scripting, computer script stuff like that, VBS script. This is from my DeVry class I was taking back in 2016." And I didn't know much about scripting and computation and programming, but I have an idea what to do with certain adventures I want to do. Not sure yet entirely, but eventually I'll get the hang of it. So after a few years of having this book and others, I'm trying to keep up with the times. Because my job's as a fast food worker, it's just gone. Like, I don't think I'm not going to go back to fast food anytime soon. Or never. Because either I'm too smart, which I doubt it, anyone can do the job, because you have to get the money somehow, some way, right? If I could tell my employers, hey, I don't know how to work at Subway, and I tell them not exactly what happened with my jobs, but I tell them, like, back then I was going to school, everything else. This is back in 2004 until 2007, 2008. I worked for Subway sandwiches on and off of these different owners and companies or networks. So it's like, I'm not some bum. I'm not some undereducated, ineducated, or you want to call it, or some bumbling fool. I know what I'm doing with work. So I should be able to get at least a weekend job at a fast restaurant, right? But they don't do that anymore. They don't do all this stuff for the newer generation where you work weekends or you work weekdays for 4 hours a day, 4 days, 5 days a week. They don't do that anymore. And if they do, then that's good, right? But I don't see it from the older, not older, from the younger. Like, I don't see them at restaurants as often. I see like people in their 40s and 30s, if not, working fast food. And now the machines are taking over. It's hard to find a job in the fast food now, even if you have the experience back in the past, even if you demonstrate what you can do in the kitchen. And and these days they're not teaching or training new workers altogether. And if they do, it's through like a agency or through a third party. Like if it's a school, it's one thing, but if you want to get skills right away within a few months, you can go for certification classes. I mean, who needs certification in the fast food? Like, just as one example. Now, if it's in the office field, it depends on how you got the office job. Because I got my first ever office job through a network with my mom's friend. At the time, she wasn't working for that company before I got laid off, with all the stuff I said earlier. So one thing leads to another. I got the job within a few weeks. Not even. But after that, I got my second office job. That was good because I had the experience from last year, back in 2011. So that's good, right? But then since I couldn't get nothing else after working there for 2 months on my second job. So altogether, I had about 7 to 10 months worth of working in the office. one thing leads to another. No one's not hiring me, or they heard about me, or they saw me on YouTube talking about politics, and they don't say it to me directly. It's just as a what if they know about this, because my face is already out there. Like, oh look, obviously, especially if I wear this hat out there, like, who am I fooling, right? I mean, like this one radio show host said, like, it's like being on the internet, or having a presence on the internet. It's like being in a car. You're protected at first by driving on a highway, whatever, but by the time you park your car, get out of the car, and on local streets and such, anything can happen to you, or whatever happens to you, stuff like that, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, like, I mean, it's just video making. That's all it is. But now in today's world, everyone has a social media presence and has either between 3 million followers or 3 followers. Now I'm one of them, being the 3 follower crowd. But I appreciate the followers. I appreciate whoever's watching my videos. I don't have your names on record, obviously, because YouTube got rid of that feature. But I appreciate to that 1 or 2 people watching my videos on a regular basis. I thank you for watching my videos for the past 35 minutes, of this video and other videos in the past. This is my first ever video in a long time. I made a 40-minute video, and the last time I made a 40-minute video was back in 2016. So, in today's world, you have to survive somehow, some way. If you're saying to me, Charles, you're a traitor to your own cause, or Charles, you're a traitor to your own people and stuff like that, because you want to live off the government or rely on the government. It's not about living and relying. It's about correlating with the government. It's about working together. It's about making sure that this government doesn't supersede their powers. It supersedes their jurisdiction. If you have CIA, and this is with my previous recordings, my videos, check back about a week or 2 or 3 weeks ago, you'll see that I'm talking about CIA had the pedophiles being housed in the CIA itself. The CIA agents were pedophiles, or became pedophiles over the years. And I'm like, that don't make any sense. Why are you overseeing many things? Why are you overseeing all this shit within the United States, and you're telling us that we have to behave while you're doing something heinous, something that we agree as a group of people on the internet, that if you touch, not only touch children, but rape them and name them and kill them, you should be crucified, you should be fucked up, you should be beating the crap out of your fellow jailmates, who should beat the crap out of you every day and save you for another rainy day to beat the crap out of you more, and so on and so forth. Like, we agreed upon that, but now it's like the CIA is like, well, what can we do? And to some extent, you're right. Like, right now, it's not the time to worry about that, right? Or not to worry about it, but to focus too much on it to the point that we still can't do nothing about it. They still have power. Over the last 60 plus years, the CIA gained so much power with Google, Microsoft, DARPA. Well, DARPA is an agency within the government, obviously, but still, they all correlate, interact with each other, making all these deals, and that's how powerful they became, the CIA, especially the CIA. One of the most powerful, one of the most budgeted agencies in the United States government, like William Cooper said back in 2001 prior to his death. He knew that Osama bin Laden was an agent for the CIA and for the government altogether. But that's another story of its own. That's another situation of its own. And William Cooper tried to speak the truth, but he got shut up, and that sucks. Like, he was just wondering to himself why the sheriff was over his house and they shot him. So I don't know what William Cooper did, but you shouldn't be shooting a man for something that he tried to defend his house. Like, if you come into his house with weapons, you don't say that you're the police or firemen or whatever at any of these essential government entities, then he can shoot at will. He has a family to protect. The last time I checked, did he have a family? I think he had a family, at least a wife and a child. But that was back in 20 years ago plus. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Please thumbs up, subscribe and share. Donate to my Patreon at Dr. Gaines 101. If you cannot donate, I greatly appreciate you guys to share my videos still. If you cannot share and just want to watch my full entire video, and if you did, thank you for watching for the past 40 minutes. I appreciate that. That That's patience right there. And in today's world, it's hard to find viewers on YouTube, let alone on YouTube, to watch at least 5 to 10, 15-minute videos straight without taking a break. It is very hard to find that for most viewers on YouTube. The average viewer on YouTube for the last how many years now only watches 30 seconds of each video. 30 seconds. And this is a 40-minute video. Imagine that. Majority of the people watching this video only see 30 seconds of it. It's not, you can call it pathetic, yeah, you can call it pathetic, but whose fault is it? Is it the viewer's fault, or is it the education fault? Who is it? Because I can watch a video up to 30 minutes without no problem for the last 5 to 7 years now. Prior to that, I was watching like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, because I'm always on the books and reading newspapers and reading books like this and stuff like that, you know. I mean, I didn't have the free time to go on YouTube a lot, but now everything's on the internet, everything's digital, everything's online shopping. Now you have to watch the videos to see what's up. Now you have to read the article at the CNN.com, whatever the case may be, if they're telling the truth or not. So it is what it is. All right, guys. Happy New Year. Thank you. And I'm gonna try to relax and wait for my orders coming in and have a good time for the next few days. And, you know, pray for my family. More of my family members are in the hospital as of this recording. I will try to talk to her sometime later tomorrow. Well, right now it's the 4th of January. So, hopefully I'll talk to her the 5th or after that, something like that. So, alright guys, pray for me. Pray for my family. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.